How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Abyss of the Sacrifice. We are going to be starting Olga's route now that we've finished Arsana's route. So we are back here at the just after finishing Awakening and Bad Omen, like we did in Miki's route. And this time we're going to be jumping into Lockout, which I don't think we've ever done before. So let's see what that holds in store and how bad it's going to be. I'm sure we'll cope. Eventually. I mean, puzzles aren't about whether you can do it or whether you can't do it. They're about how long it takes to do it. You keep banging your head against a brick wall, eventually the wall will collapse. The party walked through the research center block. Olga was at the head. Arsana winded her back. Hey, Olga. Yeah? Wouldn't you say we've walked pretty far since we entered the block? Sure. Olga's nonchalant answer annoyed Arsana and made her shoot back. What do you mean, sure? Do you really know where we're going? Are you sure we can find medical supplies around here? I'm pretty sure. Oh, really? Sounds fishy to me. Her last sentence was spoken in a whisper, but everyone could hear it loud and clear. Then again, Arsana purposefully said it loud enough for the others to hear. Olga ignored Arsana's minor pestering. She's too busy thinking about something else. Like how to get out of here. Before coming to the research center block, Olga had explained that their goal was to gather medical supplies here. There weren't many consumable goods left, and they were low on certain types of medicine. The biggest damage was the loss of their medical scanner. If someone got sick from here on out, even Olga with her medical expertise was worried about taking care of them. The hospital block that was full of medical supplies, however, was too far away. When Olga explained all of this, the others were forced to agree. But Olga had a different motive for heading to the research center block. One day my father changed. Although never a family man, he gradually grew more distant from my mother and me. The reason for that was his involvement in a dangerous, top-secret project. While she was always vaguely aware of this, Olga pretended she didn't know about it for months. Then one day, the head maid asked Olga for a favor. Please go to the master's study in place of your mother. He won't listen to a word we say. Although unsure of what was going on, Olga obediently went to her father's study and knocked. It's me, father. There was no answer. She quietly pushed at the door and it opened. Father? Her father was unexpectedly there. He sat idly in his chair, his face redder than she'd ever seen. What's wrong, father? As soon as she took a frantic step into the room, a pungent smell made her hold her breath. Oh, it stinks of alcohol. Father, have you been drinking? When she walked toward him and spoke, her father finally noticed her presence. His eyes were clouded over, bloodshot and lifeless. Olga was shocked. Was this really her father? He always had such sharp, hawk-like eyes. Where is she? You mean mother? Yes. She went out. Where? I don't know. To her usual salon, I guess. That little... She got some nerve frolicking around while her husband is working himself to the bone. Her father's sudden anger filled her with fear. She'd never seen him this unstable before. Besides, he'd always encouraged his wife's salon visits. He believed it was the hospital director's wife's duty to make connections in the public sphere. Still confused, Olga brought up the reason she was here. Father, I came to ask if you needed something. Her father turned to her. Huh, I see. He sighed and sank into his chair. Olga grimaced as a huge whiff of alcohol wafted into her face. Buy me more liquor, Olga. What? This was the first time her father had asked her to buy something for him. Why don't you ask the butler? He started yelling again. I fired that bastard. He refused to buy me liquor because he can't even remember the brand that I like. Father? She couldn't believe her ears. Our butler had been in our family for years, and was the most experienced butler on our block. Father was always so proud of that. The butler probably saw father acting strange and refused to buy liquor for his own good. I'm sure that was the case. But her father was clearly too intoxicated to even realize this. Can you go get some for me, Olga? The brand name is... But I'm a minor. This still won't sell me liquor. When Olga responded quickly, her father only said 2 words. Useless wench. It was the kind of thing an intoxicated person says without thinking. But to Olga, it came as a huge shock. Useless wench? Those are the last words she wanted to hear from her father. Get out of here. I don't need you anymore. Leave. Her father practically chased her out of the room. That was the first and last time she ever saw him in such a disgraceful state. But from then on, he lost all of his ambition and stayed away from home even more. What had made Olga's strict father become that way? She wondered about this every day until a certain object made everything clear. One day she snuck into her father's office to borrow a medical book. That was when she found it. A single small note was scattered carelessly on her father's desk. The word void was stamped across it. Since it was next to the shredder, Olga guessed that it had fallen out of a pile of voided documents that her father had destroyed. Her father's handwriting was scrawled across the note. She read it quickly, even though she knew she shouldn't. May 6, 4:45, numerical abnormality. May 6, 10:57, violent behavior. Oh, it's the disease. May 6, 12:06, abnormal space and district. May 6, 1 o'clock, specimen temporarily frozen. May 7th, 10:09, experiment injunction appeal. May 8, 12, specimen complete. Are we talking about Jitka? May 8th, 5 p.m, block E13 closed. Planned disposal of specimen tomorrow. Is this a record of some kind of experiment? Her eyes suddenly widened. She'd seen her father acting strange on May 9th. According to the memo, it was the day after the specimen was completely frozen. So this is why he was acting like that. The experiment father was involved in caused some kind of accident. Then the Administration Bureau must have requested an injunction to call it off. As a result, his project hit a dead end. Does that mean his experiment, being Jitka, caused the accident that killed Asana's father and that's why they had to cancel the experiment? Did it really devastate him that much? But something didn't make sense to her. Her father was the director of the hospital. He should have been involved in hundreds of experiments and projects, and she doubted all of them ended in success. So why was this particular experiment responsible for such a terrible breakdown? What kind of experiment was this? Block E13, District E was an area where all the Foundation's research facilities were located. I wonder if I would find something out if I went there myself. Although the thought passed through her head, it had taken all her energy at the time to keep her questions to herself. Block E13. That's where I want to go. The thought had come to her just a few hours ago, when Olga stood in front of the information board and planned the route the party would take. She realized something. This route leads us straight by the research center block. Usually, the research center block is restricted to researchers and higher-ups. But none of that matters now. This is my only chance. That was when she suggested they replenish their medical supplies. Clever girl. Bored from the monotonous path, Asana became talkative again. Hey, isn't the research block the place where they conducted a bunch of dangerous experiments? That's what you do in research blocks, isn't it? So I've heard. What if an experimental creature or something suddenly turns up? We've got one in our party already. Like something with the head of a monkey and the body of a lizard. Miki frowned. Cut it out, Asana, that's disgusting. Right, Olga? Yeah, stop it, Asana. You're making me uncomfortable. Olga grimaced. Chloe scoffed condescendingly. How old are you, Asana? You've clearly seen one too many cheap horror films. Why would the hospital go to the trouble of creating something like that? Hey, you don't have to be rude. It's totally possible, who knows? Don't get so defensive. It makes you seem even more childish. Well, excuse me, you're really irritating the heck out of me. Noticing this was leading to a fight, Olga turned around to intervene, but Miki spoke up first with an annoyed tone. Cut it out, you two. Business as usual, Olga thought. She fell silent and left the rest up to Miki. Suddenly, she noticed Jika walking behind the others. She usually tried to stop Chloe and Asana's fights. In her quiet little voice, the smallest arguments always put her on edge. But today, she looked pale and just gazed at the ground as she walked. She slowly shuffled her feet, lagging behind the rest of the party. Is it because we're going to her room? In block E13? Is something wrong, Jika? Jika looked up when Olga addressed her. Kind of. Did Asana's imagination make you feel sick? Hey, Olga, stop putting words in her mouth. When Asana tried to interrupt, Olga just held up her hand and waited for Jika's response. But what she said was unexpected. Asana's imagination? Olga was taken aback. It was like she hadn't been listening to the conversation at all. She's getting stranger by the minute. Although she wondered why, she decided to end the conversation on a friendly note. Well, let me know if you ever don't feel well. Okay. Jika nodded obediently and Olga returned to the head of the group again. This is it. Olga stopped in her tracks. Block E13. If I go in here, I might just find out what Father was really up to. Does this place have medical scanners? Asana asked from behind her. Yes, it should. Okay, then let's go in. Not noticing Olga's vaguely spacey answer, Asana confidently trudged ahead. Chloe and Miki, however, sensed something strange. What's wrong? Olga was too deep in thought to answer. Chloe and Miki exchanged glances, and Chloe didn't say another word. She just shrugged and headed into the block. Miki followed, peering at Olga out of the corner of her eye. After a few seconds, Olga came to her senses. I should go in too. She took a step forward before realizing that Jika was still there with her. What's wrong, Jika? Let's go inside. She reached out her hand, but Jika just stood there, limply. Her face was as pale as she stared at her foot. Jika? No. Her voice was no louder than a mosquito's hum. What? I don't want to go in there. Why not? I just don't. Jika wouldn't budge. Olga spoke to her kindly. Don't be scared. There aren't any monsters like Arsena was talking about. That's not it. She looked on the verge of tears. Then why don't you want to go in there? You need to tell me. Jika just cried no over and over like a small child. Olga started to get irritated. I won't know what's wrong unless you tell me. Why don't you want to go in there? A slight sternness suddenly filled her voice. Jika? Jika finally spoke little by little. Because this place is what? This place is... But she stopped there and fell silent. What are you trying to say? Olga let out a heavy sigh. For a while she just quietly stared at Jika. But then something struck her. Jika? Have you been here before? Jika's shoulders twitched. Then she emphatically shook her head. No, I don't know this place. Her behaviour confirmed Olga's suspicions. So yeah, she has been here before. But how come? Was she involved in Father's experiments? My father and Jika are connected somehow. That's something I never considered before. Her suspicions about Jika slightly grew. Before she knew what she was doing, she warned Jika in a cold tone. You shouldn't lie, Jika. Either you tell me everything, or you come with us. But you have to choose one. She took Jika's hand and pulled her toward Block E13. Olga, no, let me go. After a while, her small mosquito-like voice trailed off, and she quietly let Olga pull her along. Then suddenly she stopped in her tracks. Oh, what is it? Olga turned back to see Jika staring fearfully at the door in front of them. It was just a regular door, but Jika's eyes widened and filled with tears. Are you crying? Olga hesitated. Her grip loosened around Jika's hand. Hey! Jika took the opportunity to shake Olga's hand away and run. She's trying to get out of the block. Olga quickly followed her. Then all of a sudden Jika did something unexpected. She opened the door in front of them and ran into the room. Huh? It is her room. When Olga followed her into the room, she was surprised at what she found. It was completely different from what she expected. A children's room? It was decorated with small furniture, toys, cute wallpaper, and a soft carpet. Jika stood in a corner of the room, trembling with her eyes shut. What is a room like this doing in a research center? It wasn't clear if Jika was answering Olga's question, but she whispered quietly, This was my room. What? The sudden confession shocked her. What is she saying? Does she mean she grew up in this research facility? But why? She stumbled backward and grabbed onto a nearby dresser. In doing so, her fingers knocked against something. Huh? She looked down to find something even more surprising. Oh no, not the box. This box. A small box lay on top of the dresser. It was made of a brightly painted wood in a beautiful ethnic pattern. Olga recognized this box. I have the same one. It's a box of my father's favorite tea. That fragrant tea from the specialty shop that always makes my father's particular blend. It was the only present her father had ever given her. This box looked exactly the same. She automatically reached out. Is this mine? But before she could lay a finger on it, No, don't touch that. Olga froze at Jika's sudden yelp. That's my box. It's my only good memory of this place. She sounded desperate. Without it, this place would just be scary too. So don't touch it. As she recovered from her surprise, Olga gradually began to understand the situation. Jika knew my father and spent time with him. She must have been sick or something and used for experiments here. Then my father gave her this box. But how can this box be your only good memory? Was my father actually kind to you? Olga reminisced. Her father had given her the tea box, right when he was put in charge of the new project. Once the project started, he was barely at home anymore. Did he stay away all the time to be with Jika? An upsetting hypothesis grew within her. No, he was terrible to her. That's why she said that was her only good memory. Suddenly, a small tremor rose up from her feet. Olga's vision warped as she started to fall. Huh? It was an earthquake, and it was a big one. The dresser she grabbed onto jolted violently and sent her tumbling to the floor. Ow! She landed on her back, knocking the air out of her. For a moment, her vision went blank. Then, when she came to, the earthquake had stopped. She got to her feet with a loud and hacking cough. You okay, Jika? But when she looked up, Jika was gone. Where in the world were you, Olga? So the earthquake is usually heard warping space-time, right? That was a really dangerous earthquake just now. After Olga left the room and caught up to the rest of the party, Asuna yelled at her angrily, but then she frowned. Were you with Jika? We were separated. Well, actually, she ran away from me. She ran away from you? Olga explained how Jika resisted entering the block, but she left out the parts about the children's room and her hypothesis about Jika's past. After hearing everything, Asuna spoke fearfully. Hey, isn't this a problem? That girl can be scatterbrained sometimes. Who knows what will happen if she gets lost in this place? Good point. Since this is a research facility, it's probably filled with dangerous things. Chloe nodded in agreement. We need to find her soon. Miki looked serious. Yeah, we need to go find her now. Asuna ran ahead. Jika? The rest of the party followed her. What in the world have you been up to? I'm so glad you're safe. With a relieved sigh, Asuna patted Jika's back, but Olga shouted, Idiot! Jika's whole body jumped. It was rare for Olga to raise her voice like this. How can you go off on your own like that during a huge earthquake? Do you not care what happens to you? Olga? Tears formed in her eyes. Don't get mad, you're scaring me. But Jika's words made Olga even angrier. I'm scaring you? You're not the only one who's scared, you know. Did it ever cross your mind that your selfish behaviour could put the rest of us in danger? She couldn't stop. As she yelled at Jika, she thought to herself, aren't I just letting out all of my anger right now? But my mouth kept yelling at Jika. That's enough, Olga. When Miki put a hand on her shoulder, Olga suddenly came to. She was finally able to stop. Hey, don't you think you're going overboard? Jika's always wandering off like this. She stood protectively in front of Jika, while glaring at Olga. Besides, don't you think you're just taking all of your frustrations out on her? You're practically hysterical. She can tell. Olga felt her face turn red. She's right, I am taking it all out on Jika. Jika might be the one responsible for changing my father. That's what I was thinking subconsciously, even though there isn't any proof at all. Olga stared at her feet in embarrassment for acting so immature. Oh, are you feeling bad already? Asuna peered at her with a surprise. Be quiet. Olga mumbled softly and looked away, but Asuna followed her with a grin. You're blushing. I said be quiet, it's just hot in here. Yeah, right. You're just filled with excuses. Just then Miki interrupted with an anxious tone. Hold on. Don't you think it is a little too hot in here? Everyone looked up in surprise and Miki started shouting. I smell something burning. There must be a fire nearby. The girls raced to the previous room. When they arrived, they found an ocean of flames. The party was at a dead end without the hallway ahead of them. They couldn't get out. Olga felt all the strength leave her body. We're done for. The words slipped out of her mouth. With this ocean of flames, there is nowhere left to run. Hey, what are you saying? Asuna turned to her angrily. Are you giving up already? Yes, I am. Olga screamed. It's impossible to get out of here now. Absolutely impossible. Here I go, ranting my frustrations again. The anger she felt towards her father's secret, the jealousy that she felt towards Jika's bond with her father. All of those feelings bubbled up and put her in an unstable state. All of us are going to burn here and die. Just as Olga yelled. Smack. She felt her cheek burn and white sparks flew across her vision. Oh. She clutched her cheek and stumbled while her glasses clattered to the floor. Asuna had hit her. Pull yourself together, Olga. Asuna screamed. We all made it this far because we believed in you. Olga blinked a few times. She felt as if the fog in her heart had finally cleared. That's right. My father always taught me to be a leader. I can't lose control at a time like this. I need to survive, so that we can get out of here. Stay close, everyone, Olga spoke, but her hysteric tone had disappeared. We're going to force our way through. Follow right behind me. That was a lot of dialogue before the search area. Usually the dialogue's only about 5 to 10 minutes. This is like 20 minutes of dialogue. Crazy. These flames aren't that high. Don't bother, Miki. After we've come so far. It's too hot, yeah. What do you want me to do? Is there something we can put it out with? What is this? A huge device had fallen over. It looks like there's a vent behind it. A vent would be bloody handy. The hose is under the machine. What is this? It's covered with duct tape. Why? I don't know. Leads to a cul-de-sac. Nowhere to run. Ow! Be careful, the fire's heated up a lot. Too hot to touch. A step ladder. I'm sure that'll be handy. Somehow. Everyone keep low to the ground. Try not to breathe in any smoke. What do we need a step ladder for? We want to stay close to the ground. Step ladder's going to make us higher off the ground. Oh, I see. Did that do good? I don't know what I'm doing. Disassembled the machine. Okay, sure. A vent can be seen, but it doesn't seem to be working. Oh, okay, there was something else here. Oh, that opened that somehow. A box cutter. Oh, that'd be good for taking the duct tape off, wouldn't it? And then we can turn the vent on? Or the sprinklers? I don't know. Turn something on. Get off the duct tape. Push a button. It's a little easier to see now. Good. I mean, does that help? Seeing's good. What's that? A fire sprinkler. I wonder why it isn't working. Now can we reach it with the thing? It's a fire sprinkler. It is. Water? Looks like this is why the sprinkler wasn't working. Yeah. The hose is cut halfway. Can we fix it? Cut it more. That's gonna help. Why don't we just cut a piece of hose off here and then use that? Doesn't look like we can pull it out. Well, let's just cut it with the box cutter. Exactly. Then we can use that hose to fix the thing, right? I'll take care of this. Okay, connected them. Oh, good. Water's coming out. Oh no! Oh shit! Wrong button. Where are we meant to find the answer for that? The door is locked. We haven't seen anything even remotely like that, have we? Alright, well we're gonna have to go back to looking around. Back the way we came. A few files, you can't look at... Oh! Oh, I see. That's definitely related to that. I mean, there's literally nothing else to click on here. This is a very basic escape room, there's not much here. What does this say? Numbers are separated by lines. I see that. Oh, what does the command say? Oh, look at document. Okay, that's cool. I'm thinking that it's... You have to have this many in this row. I don't know why there's two. I was thinking you have to have this many in this row. And then this many in this row. Oh, maybe to be blocks. So this has to be a block of two together, and this has to be a block of two together. But the two blocks of two aren't together. If you know what I mean? So this one's 1-1. Probably be best to go in the 2-2s. So like there and there. Would be my guess. And then 0 in this row, which is easy. And then 3 and then 5. This one's 5, so that's gonna be like that. That's a 2-2. 2-2. Block of 1-1. 1-1. 1-2. 2-2. Oh, it opened. Is everyone okay? After getting through the wall of smoke, Olga immediately turned back to the others. Well, we're alive, Chloe reported through a hacking cough. Miki breathed in some smoke. Miki leaned on Chloe's shoulder, breathing heavily. As soon as she saw Miki's pale face, Olga shouted, Chloe, get Miki further away from the smoke. Put her on her side and loosen her shirt. Got it. Chloe pulled Miki away. I thought I was gonna die. Asuna came out of the smoke next. Are you okay, Asuna? More or less. Where's Jika? Well, I thought she came out ahead of me. When Olga shook her head, Asuna started to panic. No way, she was right next to me a second ago. You must have been separated along the way. I called Jika's name several times into the smoke, but there was no answer. Meanwhile, the place they were standing became hazy with smoke. At the end of the sooty, whirlwind-filled hallway, licking flames started to appear. Intolerable heat waves started blowing their way. We can't stay here. The fire will keep spreading unless we close the fire shutters. But what about Jika? Asuna gave Olga a pained look. What now? What should I do? Olga asked herself. At this rate, I won't be able to save all of us. And Miki's throat is probably seriously damaged. If we don't get away from the flames, her life will be in danger. Olga squinted through the swirling smoke. The other side was completely overwhelmed with flames. I doubt Jika is still... Olga ran over to the wall. The switch to activate the fire shutters was there. She reached a trembling finger toward the button. What about Jika? She's still on the other side. Asuna yelled. The fire is moving too fast. At this rate, Jika won't survive. Asuna groaned. We have to close the shutters. Everyone's lives come first. Olga pressed the switch. The fire shutters started to lower. Asuna bit her lip. Olga made sure the shutters were completely closed before putting a hand on Asuna's shoulder. Let's go. Just then... Did you hear that? Asuna's head shot up. What? Although Olga's voice was doubtful, she suddenly heard that sound too. It was banging on the shutters. Someone was knocking on the other side. Jika? Olga and Asuna yelled at once. Asuna ran over to the wall and pressed the switch. The shutter rose up to reveal Jika in tears on the other side. Jika? Asuna ran over to the small girl covered in soot. Hurry and open up. I was so scared. Don't worry, you're fine now. Asuna rubbed Jika's back as she continued to sob with fear. Let's get out of here. We'll find a place with water and clean ourselves off, okay? With a hand around Jika's trembling shoulders, Asuna led the way to the exit. She spoke in a low whisper as they passed Olga. You almost killed someone. Olga stayed frozen even after Asuna and Jika were out of sight. You almost killed someone. Asuna's words weighed heavily on Olga's heart. She's right. I almost killed Jika. If I hadn't closed the shutters, everyone could have died in the smoke. But should I have really closed them? Did I make the wrong decision? My actions put someone's life in danger. Even though I'm on the path to save lives as a doctor, I almost killed someone. Something creaked inside of Olga's heart. It was the sound of cogwheels slowly beginning to warp her sanity. Warp her sanity. Lovely. Okay, well that's that done. We're going to start a new save file here. But the next one is... the next one on the list is Wings, which we've done before. So we're going to jump into that now and skip. And I'll bring you back if there is anything, any new developments, any new dialogue. Okay, no new dialogue there in Wings. So that's cool. The next one we've also done. Next on the list is going to be Revelation. So we're going to jump into that right now. And again, I'll bring you back if there's any new dialogue. Okay, there was no new dialogue here in Revelation either. So we're going to move on to Sacrifice, and then I'm going to bring you back if there's new dialogue, and if not, we're going to wrap the episode up after that. And then in the next episode, we're going to do Operation, which will be a brand new one we haven't done. Oh, we have some new dialogue here in Sacrifice. But Olga's happiness only lasted a moment before she exclaimed, "Hurry, we need to get Asuna to do a clearing." Oh, because now Asuna's alive. The whole time Olga had been stopping Asuna's blood flow, and even now, Miki had just been standing there, in shock. Her hands were shaking. What have I done? She felt a tap on her shoulder. It was Chloe. She leaned over and whispered into Miki's ear, just as she'd done earlier, "You saved us all." Miki slowly turned her head to Chloe with a blank expression. If the oxygen levels had dropped any more, we wouldn't be alive right now. The last time we didn't have Olga with us, she was already dead. Miki opened her mouth. She wanted to say something, but the words wouldn't come. Chloe whispered instead, if you hadn't shot her, I would have. She chuckled. Then she followed after Olga. Hold on, Olga. That princess is too much for you to carry on your own. I'll help. Chloe's voice and Olga's instructions echoed in the background. Meanwhile, Miki's right fist trembled as she continued to clench it. To be continued. Okie dokie, so that did change. So our surviving party is actually quite a bit different to last time we came through Revelation, which is interesting. Next episode we're going to be doing Operation, but until then I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.